A humidity meter, this guy again. Yeah, it feels even worse this morning than it did yesterday. Maybe you didn't think that was possible, but the humidity is way up there today. And again, you see those low clouds over the Commodore Barry Bridge where we've got the temperature at 76. When the temperature and dew point nearly match, that's why we've got the fog, very light winds through the area. So it's still foggy and really humid at 77 degrees already. I mean, temperatures stayed in the mid 70s all night. At lunchtime, it's 88 degrees with some sunshine. So if you need to run some errands, no problem. Late morning into the lunchtime hour. Soon thereafter, I'd say from 2 o'clock to about 11 o'clock at night, we're watching for the chance for these storms. But at 4 o'clock, we start to see some storms popping up here or there through the region, and you'll have to watch for them. There they are right now to our south and west as a front draws near. So we start with some sunshine, but through the afternoon and evening, we get some storms to develop. Timing it out in the Lehigh Valley, they're happening in the afternoon hours, and 88 in the afternoon and evening in the city, 90 degrees. At the shore, the best chance to see a storm would be in the later evening hours, 80 degrees for your high and a moderate risk of rip current. So even though it's nice to start down the shore after the morning fog, you've got that moderate risk of rip currents today, Matt. You're waking up and you're looking at the gray skies and the fog, but then we see some sunshine coming back. It's warm and humid, and then the storms hit through the afternoon and evening. So a lot going on today with the weather. At 8 o'clock in the morning, it's already 82. It stayed so warm and muggy overnight, and now we've got that fog through the region. At 10 o'clock, it's already near 90 degrees. That's what it's going to feel like with the heat index value. At lunchtime, it's feeling like 96. At 2 o'clock, feeling like 98 degrees. So we start with a lot of fog this morning, then we see some sunshine, and then we watch for these storms to develop in the afternoon and evening hours, and that's when we have the real chance to see those storms coming through today. So we're not seeing a whole lot of sun today, but it is kind of a big day for us. Tonight is our last 8 o'clock sunset of the year. And then we watch, we're losing daylight by September 2nd. The sunset is at 7:30. By September 21st, that's your last day of summer before the equinox, the sunset is at 6:59. So we're saying goodbye to those 8 o'clock sunsets. We'll talk about the hour-by-hour forecast, get you ready for those storms coming up in just a minute. Maggie and Aliana.
Karen, you sure it's not a UFO?
I'm sure. And you know what? It really did create a buzz last night. You know, people like, what is this in the sky? So very cool. Unfortunately, it was hard if you were trying to look for the Perseid meteors. The moon was a little too bright. We didn't see a whole lot of those. Today, the issue is the storms coming later today. So here's what to expect. It's going to feel like it's in the mid to upper 90s today. We've got another hot and just really humid day. But unlike yesterday, today we're adding the storms in. So we get some afternoon and evening storms and some heavy downpours. I don't think heavy downpours are widespread, but we could have a storm or two producing enough downpours that you've suddenly got a flooding risk with that. Of course, you have dangerous lightning with these storms. What about the chance for gusty winds? Today, the Storm Prediction Center's upped it a little bit. So we've got an isolated chance for gusty winds. So nothing widespread with this. This risk here, you see the entire area except for the immediate shoreline in the area of green. That's a 1 out of 5 as far as severe weather risk today. Looking at satellite and radar, we've got some low clouds this morning because of the fog. But in addition to that, you see a few clouds rolling through. We'll get some early sun, but the clouds increase, and then we watch the chance for these showers and storms. You kind of get the idea looking at that radar. It's not one line, but a few storms kind of popping up. I'd watch out anytime after 2 o'clock. Looks like the time we start to see things happening here. So here's a look at 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. A couple of storms just starting. Maybe a better chance as you get late afternoon and evening. This model suggesting at 6 o'clock you're getting some really heavy downpours here or there. You'll be first to clear in the Lehigh Valley, and then it's in the evening and maybe into the nighttime hours towards the shore especially. Here's a look at 9 o'clock at night. Still some storms around. We could have a spotty storm in the overnight hours as well. So timing out your day hour by hour, it's warm, it's foggy, it's really humid. Even at 7 o'clock, 75. We've held in the 70s all night again. At 9 o'clock, it's 79. You're getting some sunshine breaking through. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, it's partly sunny, really humid. At 1 o'clock, it's 89, but already feeling like it's into the 90s. At 3 o'clock, it's 90, and you've got a shot for those storms forming, and that chance of precipitation increases between 2 and 7 o'clock, where you see even more storms scattered through the area. So when does it happen in the Lehigh Valley, the afternoon storms. That'll hold that temperature down to 88. In the city, you have a decent amount of sun early afternoon, and then it's in the afternoon and evening you see those storms at 90. Even though it's not one line moving west to east, I do think that general pattern is it's more active in the west, then more active in the east in the evening hours. 80 degrees for your high. Got to watch, though, that moderate risk of rip currents. Today, it's one of those days you might want to get into the water, but you got to take it easy.
You let it take you, and then you swim parallel to the shore.
That's right. Good way to escape it out of there. I can't fight those rip currents. Right. Good morning, everybody. We've got some fog through the region we're waking up to as we look with our visibility reports. We have near zero visibility there in Coatesville, quarter of a mile in Lancaster, a little over a mile in Wilmington. Not a problem in Center City itself or at Philadelphia International. You're getting about 10-mile visibility, but only a quarter of a mile in Dover, in Millville, near zero in Atlantic City. So a lot of fog through the area, a little more widespread than we saw yesterday. It's so warm, 76 degrees. We stayed in the mid-70s all night. It's warm. It's horribly humid. The humidity even up from yesterday. Satellite and radar showing in addition to that, we've got some storms on the way. You get the idea looking at this. It's not one line. We're going to see some scattered storms with a cold front waiting out to the west, and all of this just kind of pressing in ahead of it. So we see these storms anytime after 2 o'clock. You're starting to see things pop up. So this is a look at 2 and 3 o'clock, maybe 6 o'clock, getting some really heavy downpours with some of these storms here or there. And even at 9 o'clock at night, we could have a leftover storm or two through the region. So here's what you can expect at 8 o'clock this morning. It's humid, it's foggy, 77. Be careful if you're walking around. Make sure the cars can see you. And lunchtime, it's sunshine and few clouds. It's just warm and sticky, 88, but already feeling like the 90s. 89, feeling like well into the 90s by 4. But then at 4 o'clock, 5, 6, 7, 8, Matt, you're watching for those scattered storms today. And look at that. I mean, what? If you didn't have the label, I wouldn't know where I'm looking there.
This is the camera we usually use to see the Tacony-Palmyra Bridge, which
a lady out there with a stroller at 6:41 in the morning. They're working hard early on, keeping the kids busy. It's going to be a day that you want to get out there at the shore after the morning fog. You'll get some sunshine, and the storms there will take a little longer to hit you. This in the city itself, we're watching for these storms to start in the afternoon. So as you're grabbing that cup of coffee, it's warm and humid. Make it an iced coffee today. At 7 o'clock, we're already at 75. Temperatures have been holding in the mid-70s all night long. At 8 o'clock, it's 77. We're starting with fog. We see a little more sun by 9. That fog is clearing out, and it's looking a little better. By 10 o'clock, it's 82 degrees. It's warm. It's very humid. Then we watch for those storms in the afternoon and evening. Today at the shore, you've got another day with a moderate risk of rip currents today. They upped it from low to moderate today. Tomorrow it goes back to low, but you got to want to be careful. Partly sunny skies, 80 degrees. Tomorrow, warm and humid, an isolated storm in 83. And then Friday and Saturday look really nice at the shore, 80, 79 degrees. It's not that cool here in the city, though. We've got a few more days in the 90s. We're going to time out those storms, talk about the end of the heat. The end of the heat hits you in the 7-day. So wait till you see the big change in temperatures coming, guys. That's up in just a minute.
We're looking forward to that, Karen.
Fog, but you're dry through the area, Maggie, and I think that's what you're worried about, those storms later on. So if you have some errands to run, morning hours and lunchtime hours, you're good to go. Here's what to expect today. The heat indices, it's going to feel like the mid to upper 90s today. So we've got another hot day. I mean, the humidity is kind of off the charts again. It's even higher than it was yesterday morning. And then we get some afternoon and evening storms and downpours to develop. Locally heavy rainfall. Any one storm could produce some flooding rain. We're not expecting flooding to be widespread. We've got a marginal risk of flooding through the region and dangerous lightning, of course, with any one of these storms. How about as far as damaging winds? So now the Storm Prediction Center, and this is a change from yesterday, is showing the entire area in a shade of green. That's a 1 out of 5 as far as severe weather risk. So it's an isolated chance any one storm could potentially have some damaging winds with the heavy rain. So something we'll watch for, but again, not something widespread that we expect. Satellite and radar showing we're even trying to see a storm pop up out to the north and west of us out there this morning. So we'll see about something popping up early, but most of those storms have been down to the south and west. And we expect as early as 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you'll start to see some of these storms pop here or there. At 6 o'clock in the evening, you've got some heavy downpours coming through the area with all this moisture in the air, it's not going to take much to spark a really good downpour coming through. Even at 8, 9 o'clock, not entirely dry. I think in the overnight hours, you still have a spotty shower or downpour here or there. So timing it out hour by hour. Lots of fog this morning, a little hard to see. 75 degrees, really humid. At 9 o'clock, it's 79. At 11 o'clock, it's 85. But by 11, it's already feeling like it's into the 90s. Now, again, I just saw that storm popping up on the radar right now out to our west. So we'll see if something pops early. But it looks like most of the storms pop up in the early afternoon. So by 2 o'clock, you're starting to get busy. That temperature about 90 degrees, and you're seeing some storms pop up scattered through the area here or there into the evening hours. 7 o'clock at night, you've still got a few storms around and 81 degrees. So watching for it to get active in the afternoon and evening. In the Lehigh Valley, those storms will hit early. By the afternoon hours, you already have some storms. The evening hours are looking drier. So that'll stop your temperatures at 88 degrees in the Lehigh Valley. Here in the city, about 90 with those later afternoon and evening storms. And at the shore, partly sunny, likely holding off to the evening hours, 80 degrees. But you've got a moderate risk of rip currents today at the shore, and likely a high risk next week because we're watching Tropical Storm Erin, expected to become a Category 3 hurricane. But you can see the spaghetti plot models kind of taking that curve up to the north near Bermuda. So a rip current risk for us, but no other risks from that likely hurricane that will be off the shore next week. So we'll be talking about rip currents for a while now. Here's your exclusive AccuWeather 7-day. Afternoon storms and downpours, 90 degrees for your high. Tomorrow, 90 degrees because that front is still way out to the west. It actually comes through tomorrow and then just kind of dissipates through the area. So still a storm chance tomorrow and 90. Friday is mostly sunny, 90 degrees, maybe not quite as intense with the humidity. Saturday backing down to 89, so it's going to feel very warm, but pretty good for the Eagles. Sunday hot and humid, an isolated storm, and 92. On Monday, 90 degrees for your high. On Tuesday, you're looking at temperatures turning much cooler. I told you that change in the weather comes at the end of the 7-day, so by Tuesday, you're in the comfortable mid-80s. It looks like we stay comfortable after that, so a big change coming with temperatures, guys.
All right, Karen, thank you.